My name is Mark Devery. I've been a proud member of Northwood Golf Club since 1980. It's a golf course I still enjoy and Lord knows I find very challenging. That's never changed in 40 years. And it's my club and there's nothing I can do about it. Not that I want to. I'm very happy to be a member and will continue to be a member as long as health and finance allow, and other factors, of course. Music has always been a passion of mine for my entire life. By that I mean I can't remember when there was ever a time when there wasn't music playing in the house. I grew up in a house in the 50s and 60s, a little 3-bedroom semi in South Harrow, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, my parents, there was always music playing, be it the radio, be it the record player, be it one of my brothers or I playing the guitar, be it my mum singing, there was always music. And from that point of view, it was a great sort of melting pot. My mum and dad, both big jazz fans, in the Louis Armstrong, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie, Duke Ellington mould. But of course, when, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the sort of 60s erupted into that huge explosion of different types of music, we brought it all home and we played it. And to be fair, everybody listened with open ears and without prejudice, to the point where, I can remember taking my mum to see Eric Clapton in concert, Bob Marley and the Wailers. My aunt took my sisters to see, we always had music and we always had musical influences and we always had an open mind to it. So from that point of view, I've taken 3 of my favourite songs and put a slightly different version, which I hope you'll enjoy. The first one and the second actually come from, there's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it's in Burbank, California, where pretty much it does what it says, that anybody they consider to have served the cause is recognized and awarded a medal. Sometimes it's during their lifetimes, sadly sometimes it's posthumously. So the first track I've done, which was a fantastic mix-up and mash-up, as they tend to call it these days, of one of the finest pieces of rock and roll music ever written, and that's the magnificent Gimme Shelter. But this time it features U2, it features Will.i.am and Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, but it also features Mr. Michael Jagger as the guest vocalist. I hope you enjoy it. The second piece of music, again, it's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame piece, and this was done posthumously. This was done when George Harrison died, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they took to the stage Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Danny Harrison, his son, Steve Ferroni and Greg Fillinganes on drum and bass, the 2 guys that used to play with Eric Clapton for many of his live years. You'll see him to the right-hand side of the stage in a bright red bowler hat is Prince, who takes the solo at the end. Now, I was fortunate enough to see him a couple of times live in concert, and the man was a very, very good live act. What's probably not quite recognised is his ability to play an electric guitar. I remember reading a Rolling Stone magazine article 15 years ago when they were interviewing the great Eric Clapton, who I keep talking about that. The American journalist said to him, "So, Eric, what's it like to be the best rock and roll guitarist on the planet?" To which Clapton replied, "I've no idea, ask Prince." That shows you the esteem he was held by his peers. So if you can bear with it, and if it runs that long, just check out the solo at the end of the piece, where the little fella just tears up the stage. Quite extraordinary. And the expression on the face of Danny Harrison behind watching him play is just a joy. I hope you enjoy. It's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. The third piece, the third song, is, again, it's a Stevie Wonder song, who I consider to be one of my absolute heroes and one of my favorites. But again, it's a collaboration by a group of world musicians who call themselves Playing for Change. It's like a global affiliation, and they take different musicians from all over the world. It starts with Roberto Luti, who's a fantastic slide guitarist, plays a resonator. in Livorno in Italy, and it goes via Mali, Rio de Janeiro, Paris, Jamaica, and it's all the different musicians who, if you like, film and send their piece in, and then it's knitted together. The two singers, there's a lady from Soweto singing, she actually records in Paris, and then there's a constant singer with the group from Playing for Change. He's actually, I think, in Amsterdam. But you'd admit the voices, the standard of musicians on it, and the way it's all knitted together is fantastic. And it is a great, great song. And that's Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground. Hope you enjoy it. I'm a great fan, because I was such a lousy student at school. I've become a great fan of what they call wooden horse history, and that is reading novels that are based around historical facts, and that way you get to learn history, and rather in the dry, authoritarian way in which it was taught to me in school, which was if you could remember dates, and if you were numeric, you could pass a history exam. It is the most fascinating subject on the curriculum. It's just, in my day, it was very poorly taught. So a man whose books I've come to really enjoy is Ken Follett. This one's the second of a trilogy, and it's all about tracing from just before the First World War right up into the fall of the Berlin Wall and on into the nuclear age. It's the second part of the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett. Finally, the luxury item that I'm allowed to take would be one of my guitars. And they say to me, so how many guitars do you own? The classic answer is always not enough. My luxury item would be a guitar. Then we get into the situation of which one. But as long as I was allowed to take one, I'd be quite comfortable and happy sitting on a desert island playing. I'm going to put a little video that I posted on YouTube about 3 weeks ago when we entered into lockdown, of me playing, of just noodling away, one of my favorite songs. I hope you enjoy it.